Hey, I'm just going to quickly run through how to tune the gears from the bottom up. So this will work if you have any problems with shifting and you want to just kind of start over. Just follow this kind of guide. First thing you're going to want to do is shift it down so that you're in the lowest gear. Whenever you're doing tuning, always make sure you start on the smallest cog, which is the highest gear. Every process you do starts here and builds up. Once you're done that, you're going to have a look at the tension in here. This is the gear cable. This is how the cable shifts. As the tension pulls on here, it moves the derailleur over. So this is a big thing you need to check. This one's pretty good. What you want to do is make sure that it's kind of tight with not loads of slack, but you're not forcing it through and screwing it shut. Before you start adjusting things at the back, make sure your barrel adjuster's in a good position. This goes for brakes and gear adjustments. You don't want it to be all the way in or all the way out. You want it kind of in a middle ground so that you have leeway to move either way. I tend to go all the way in and then back off by about 1 or 2 full rotations. Okay, so just to kind of explain that, if you undo this bolt here, this is what's holding the tension in. Make sure you're in the lowest gear as well. You'll see as I pull on the shifter, that cable's moving through by a certain amount each time. So that's all that shifting cable does. It just gives you a little bit click, 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 just gives you more and more or less and less wire. So what you want to do is be in a good starting position, because if you're in a bad starting position, it's going to make everything else very difficult. So at the moment, this has got way too much slack. What I do is I got my pliers, take out most of the slack, give it a feel, make sure I'm in the highest gear on the shifters. A little bit of tension there, nothing crazy, and then just tighten that until it holds. You want it nice and tight so it doesn't slip. So once you've done that, go through and test. Like I said, start at the bottom, up once, back down again. Up 2, back down 2. And what you're doing is you're listening. So that's up 3. See there, I've clicked the gear to go up 3 times, but it hasn't shifted. What that means is there's not enough tension in the cable. So I go all the way back down to the bottom, shift up once, shift up twice, find where it doesn't shift. I've clicked 3 times, it hasn't done. That means that the cable needs more tension because it needs to be pulled in further. So to add more tension, you go to the barrel adjuster and screw it away from the gear cap, which is counterclockwise if you were looking into the barrel adjuster. I've given it a few turns there. It sounds like it's closer, so I keep turning, adding more and more tension, and there it shifts. And you don't want to over tension it, so the aim is to get it so it just shifts in every gear. So now if I go back down to the bottom, let's see if it shifts nicely. Seems to be shifting pretty decently. Make sure you go back down as well. If you've added too much tension, the shifting back down will suck. So it's about finding a balance. Maybe I've got a little bit too much tension in there because some of the shifts down didn't look very clean. Some of these ones up here were kind of dropping off a little slowly, a little weirdly, so I'm going to screw it back in by a tiny amount. It's just a game of testing. Go up. Every time you make a change, test every gear. And back down. See there, it's kind of jumping too far on the downshifts. So I'm going to go up to the top. Oh, the wide slip, but yeah. Just to really reiterate that, shifting up, so shifting towards the big ring, is made easier by adding tension because the derailleur shifts over more. Shifting down is made easier by taking away tension. So it might look really good going up because you've taken out loads of tension and you're really happy, but then coming down will be clunky and not very efficient. So make sure that you're doing small adjustments with the barrel adjuster, maybe a quarter of a turn at a time, half a turn at a time. checking everything, small adjustment, check everything. And then once you're finished, take it for a cycle on the road and make sure that it all works okay, because a lot of times, for some reason, sitting on the bike and actually putting tension through the pedals can change the system a little bit. So double check that it's all done by going out and taking it for a spin. Always double check at the start of the tuning process that this cog here hangs directly below the smallest ring. So put it in the smallest gear, make sure it hangs directly below, because if not, you're going to have to adjust these two screws here. These are the limit screws, so they set the maximum distance that the derailleur will go this way and this way. If you're having problems with the chain falling off of the cassette and falling in between the wheel and the cassette, then you need to adjust this this low limit screw. And if you're having problems with shifting out of the high gear, or this cog looks really unaligned, then you need to change the high screw. Just have a play around with those. To show you what I mean by that, I put the Allen key in here.
What's that?
To show you what I mean by that, I put the Allen key in the high gear adjustment screw here, and as I turn it, you should see that derailleur moving in the background there. Comes all the way over to the left, so you can see how this part here, this cog here, is now moved over to the left. If I screw this back, you'll see it moving back. Same goes for if you're in the high gear in the other screw here. If you are changing these limit screws because you found some problem, make sure that there's no tension in this wire. If there's tension in this wire, it can force the derailleur over and prevent you from seeing what the limit screw is actually doing, because the tension in the cable will be holding it over rather than the limit screw.